Thank you for making time to watch this short video presentation about the Secure Milk Supply Plan for continuity of business during a foot-and-mouth disease outbreak. This video will describe how the United States would respond to a foot-and-mouth disease outbreak, why the Secure Milk Supply or SMS plan is needed, and how dairy producers, haulers, and processing plants can participate in the SMS plan. Foot-and-mouth disease, or FMD, while harmless to people, causes blisters in animals with cloven feet, such as cattle, pigs, sheep, and goats. It is the most contagious disease of livestock. However, it is not a public health or food safety concern. Normal-appearing cattle can shed FMD virus in bodily fluids, including milk, 2 to 4 days before clinical signs appear. FMD virus is very easily spread to other animals on vehicles, people's clothing or footwear, and equipment that can carry the virus in milk, manure, or dirt. Foot-and-mouth disease is discussed in more detail in another video. Foot-and-mouth disease has not affected United States livestock since 1929. However, if FMD were diagnosed today, state and federal officials would turn to USDA's Foot-and-mouth disease response plan, also known as the Red Book, to respond to this very contagious livestock virus. The Red Book provides guidance on setting up control areas around infected premises, which are farms with livestock that test positive for FMD. The size of the FMD control area could be as small as a 6-mile radius from the infected premises for one farm, or very large, such as an entire region if several farms have positive animals. Movement controls will be put in place in the control area to stop FMD spread. This will include animals and possibly even raw milk movement from dairy farms to their processors. How would that affect your business? This brings us to the need for the Secure Milk Supply Plan. The SMS plan provides a continuity of business plan for dairies in control areas that are affected by movement controls but not infected with FMD, so they can continue to move raw milk to processing. Producers, haulers, processors, grocers, and consumers rely on the frequent milk movements to maintain quality of this perishable product. There is a limited capacity and time to store raw milk on farms and at processing plants. If milk movement is stopped during an FMD outbreak to limit disease spread to animals, this could lead to disposal problems on dairies and lost income. The SMS plan provides guidance for dairy premises with no evidence of FMD infection to move raw milk to processing. It is the result of years of collaboration between the dairy industry, universities, states, and the USDA. Participation is voluntary. The SMS plan, funded by USDA, also provides resources to help producers protect their herd from FMD exposure. The full 10-page plan can be found on the SMS website. At the beginning of an FMD outbreak, moving milk from dairies in a control area is not without risk. Officials managing an FMD outbreak must balance the risk of allowing raw milk movement and possibly spreading FMD virus against the risk of not allowing movement, which could lead to the on-farm disposal of raw milk. The SMS plan provides flexible guidance for regulatory officials managing the outbreak. The risks of moving raw milk were looked at through a proactive risk assessment. The overarching goal was to discover the risk of moving raw milk from an infected but undetected dairy farm to processing. The full risk assessment results are available on the SMS website. This video includes some highlights. One way to minimize the risk of FMD spread is through biosecurity. Mitigation steps were developed through collaboration with the dairy industry, regulatory officials, and academic partners, resulting in the creation of biosecurity performance standards for raw milk collection and transport. The risk assessment looked at the effect these biosecurity standards had on FMD spread. The standards are available on the SMS website. One of the first questions answered through the risk assessment was, can FMD virus in the milk escape from a tanker as it moves down the road or during pumping on the next farm? When the SMS plan biosecurity performance standards are followed, such as closing the dome lid, tightening the clamps or dog legs, and making sure the tanker is not overfilled, the risk is negligible to low. Negligible means the likelihood that the event will occur is insignificant or not worth considering, which is reassuring to other farms along the milk movement route. The risk assessment also discovered that when the biosecurity performance standards for the truck and driver were met, the risk became negligible in many areas. Certain practices, such as multiple farm pickups and using a truck-mounted transfer hose, raise the risk to moderate. To decrease the risk of FMD spread, it is important to ensure the hauler, cab, tanker, and milk transfer hose are not contaminated when entering or leaving an operation. This is referred to as truck and driver biosecurity in the SMS plan. For dairy producers that want to tip the scales in favor of continued milk movement and to protect their cattle from FMD exposure, the SMS plan includes biosecurity guidance, surveillance options, and record-keeping recommendations. Planning prior to an outbreak is critical to controlling FMD spread and for continuity of business for the dairy industry. The SMS plan recommends getting a National Premises Identification Number, referred to as a Prem ID or PIN, for any operation that houses animals. PINs can be requested from the office of your state animal health official. The PIN includes a valid 911 address and a set of matching coordinates, the latitude and longitude, reflecting the actual location of the animals on the premises. Having a validated PIN speeds up communication and response during an outbreak. Routine biosecurity is not enough when it comes to protecting cattle from FMD exposure. The SMS plan includes biosecurity guidance based on how FMD spreads. Producers can work with their herd veterinarian and use the self-assessment checklist, corresponding information manual, and template to develop an operation-specific, written, enhanced biosecurity plan. These resources are all available on the SMS website. The biosecurity guidance includes implementing a line of separation, or LOS, to limit movement of FMD virus to areas where animals may be exposed. The line of separation is a clearly identified boundary around or within a dairy premises to separate off-farm from on-farm movements. To visualize the LOS concept, picture the dairy as a castle. Think of the LOS as a moat around the castle. And the drawbridge is the access point, controlled by the dairy. The dairy operation decides when to lower the drawbridge and let in the milk truck or any other vehicle after it has followed appropriate biosecurity measures, such as being cleaned and disinfected. Biosecurity steps and the line of separation are covered in more detail in another video. Another component of the SMS plan is surveillance, looking for FMD in the herd. If your dairy is in a control area, surveillance may involve periodic farm inspections by regulatory officials. Unfortunately, there are no cow-side tests that quickly tell if a cow is infected with FMD. There is a bulk tank milk test in development that can tell if one or more cows in the tank are shedding virus. Inspections and testing can be supplemented by dairy personnel observing animals daily, looking for clinical signs or changes in production. The SMS website includes resources to accomplish this. Abnormal findings must be promptly reported to regulatory officials. Surveillance is covered in more detail in other videos. Let's recap the many components of the Secure Milk Supply Plan. The proactive risk assessments answered many questions about the risk of moving raw milk in an outbreak. Biosecurity for the truck, driver, and the entire dairy operation will be needed to prevent FMD spread. Surveillance during an outbreak will be necessary to ensure only milk from herds with no evidence of FMD infection is moved to processing. These components can provide continuity of business for producers who choose to participate. It is important to note that the SMS plan is guidance only. In an actual outbreak, decisions will be made by federal and state officials based on the unique characteristics of the outbreak. The focus of the SMS plan is movement of raw milk from farm to commercial processing. Without continued movement, consumers will be immediately affected, as will the economic bottom line for the dairy industry. However, the dairy industry is very complex. Complete continuity of business for the dairy industry requires the ability to move all of the items shown on the screen. An FMD outbreak will place movement restrictions on most of these. Whether you are a dairy producer, employee, hauler, delivery driver, milk processor, regulatory official, or other stakeholders, the resources available in the Secure Milk Supply Plan can help prevent disease spread and meet movement permit requirements. Consumers will also benefit because pasteurized milk and milk products are safe to enjoy. The SMS plan provides the tools to protect cattle and the dairy industry during an outbreak. Talk with your state animal health official about participating in the plan, or visit securemilksupply.org to learn more and to find the resources described in this video. The Secure Milk Supply Plan was funded by USDA. This video was written and produced by the Center for Food Security and Public Health at Iowa State University, College of Veterinary Medicine.